Hey everybody, it's Party Elite, and today we're continuing our beginner's guide for Crusader Kings 3 by looking at the all-important topics of dynasties and succession. Dynasties play a crucial role in Crusader Kings 3. In order to ensure yours survives the test of time, and to ensure your own immediate family isn't just a footnote in history, you'll also want to pay special attention to how succession works in your own realm. Dynasties drive Crusader Kings. When you select a character to play as, you're starting as that character, sure, but you win the long game as a family, as a dynasty. Renown is the key currency and representation of the strength of a dynasty. It is earned monthly, and the rate of increase is dictated by the number of living members, the number of rulers at different ranks who are not vassals to other members of the same dynasty, and any spouses to foreign rulers as well. As a dynasty earns renown, it can climb the level of splendor ladder. At higher levels, children are born with more prestige, others get more prestige by marrying into the dynasty, and the maximum bonus a ruler gets from a long rule is increased as well. You can access information about a dynasty by selecting a character from it and clicking on the coat of arms here. To look at your own dynasty, you can click on its coat of arms when you have your character selected, or you can click on the same down here. The map will change to reflect what the various dynasties of the world rule. Sometimes, multiple realms can be ruled by different members of the same dynasty. House Carling is an excellent example of this. The kings of West Francia, Lotharingia, East Francia, and Italy are all related, and so all of these kingdoms are under the control of the Carling dynasty. Opening the dynasty tree will show all these and other relations too, and you can see the highest title each dynasty member held. This dynasty tree is similar to a family tree, though it is devoid of any characters that do not belong to the dynasty. In other words, anybody who marries into the family is not included, since people retain their ties to their dynasty even after getting married. It's only the kids who belong to one dynasty or another, as determined by the type of marriage. Marriages are typically patrilineal, meaning children are a part of the father's dynasty, but if a marriage is matrilineal, the resulting children are a part of the mother's dynasty instead. This is very important to keep in mind as a female ruler especially, because a female ruler can lead to the end of a line if her marriages aren't matrilineal. Now, as you can imagine, dynasties can get pretty expansive. Dynasties are made up of houses. Typically, when the game starts, every dynasty has just the one house, and the most powerful member of this dynasty and house is both the Dynasty Head and House Head. Being Dynasty Head comes with a monthly boost to the character's prestige, as well as some unique responsibilities. The Dynasty Head, for example, is responsible for choosing which dynasty legacies to invest in. These are upgrades that apply to all members of the dynasty and further strengthen its capabilities in various ways, staying active through the generations from when they are unlocked to the end of the game. The Dynasty Head also has access to unique interactions with other members of the dynasty. Disinheriting or disavowing a member of the dynasty will cost renown, but it's a way to remove potential problems from the line of inheritance and to turn others against a specific member of the dynasty to advance your own interests. On the flip side, you can restore and forgive members of the dynasty who have previously been disinherited or disavowed. You can also spend renown to claim the title of any other member of the dynasty for yourself, and you can force dynasty members to stop any wars they're fighting against one another. Apart from this, dynasty heads also have access to options that come from being house head. The house head also gains prestige every month, and also has unique powers. They are able to legitimize bastards if that's an option as per their faith. They're able to call members of the house to war as allies without the need of an alliance marriage. They're able to demand the religious conversion of landed members, and they gain weak hooks on all members of the house born when the house head is in power. Hooks can be used for a variety of reasons, representing pressure you can apply on a personal level to force or convince a character to comply. These can be extremely helpful over the course of your life. As you can expect, at times, other members of a dynasty might want those house head powers for themselves. If you're playing as a lower tier character to start, you'll find yourself in a similar position. At such a time, characters can take the decision to create a cadet branch, a new house within the greater dynasty of which they will be the house head at its formation, a responsibility they will pass down within the house. The most powerful house head out of all the houses in a dynasty also becomes the Dynasty Head, and though it is an investment to establish a cadet branch, it paves the way for ultimate jurisdiction over all houses within the dynasty, starting, of course, with your own house, where you will be the house head, eventually hopefully becoming the most powerful house head, and as a result, becoming the Dynasty Head. But even the greatest houses collapse if poorly maintained, and that's where your succession laws come in. As discussed in our previous video, when your character dies, your game doesn't end. You simply continue playing as that character's primary heir, as long as that heir is a part of the same dynasty. But a primary heir doesn't necessarily inherit everything when that happens, and under the right, or perhaps wrong circumstances, a powerful realm can be fractured among inheritors, and you might find yourself significantly weakened at this turn of events. The conversation around succession is broken down into two parts: the succession laws and the gender laws. You are able to change these to suit your needs, but since the implications of doing so are quite huge, there are some prerequisite considerations. Tribal governments cannot change their laws outside of the not-so-ideal male preference Confederate partition. This is one reason you might want to work towards the decision to adopt feudal ways. As time-consuming as that might be, it opens up some options for adjusting how inheritance works. Now, if you're the temporal head of a faith, only people of the same faith can inherit titles. This cannot be changed under any circumstances until or unless that faith has been taken care of. To make absolutely any change, you will first need the right level of authority. The higher your authority level, the more power you have over your direct vassals, and the unhappier they're likely to be as a result. It's important to note that tribal authority and crown authority are different, with crown authority allowing for more powers at every equivalent level of tribal authority. If you're at the top of the power structure in your realm, you'll only see your own authority level under the Realm tab, but if you have a liege lord, you'll see theirs included here too. Everybody wants to have high authority for themselves, but reduced authority from the person above them. If you need to quickly appease all of your direct vassals, you can reduce your own authority level at no cost, but to increase it, you have to spend prestige in accordance to your realm size and your character's learning skill. In order to reduce your liege's authority level, you'll need to join or form a faction against your liege, pushing for liberty. You can expect your vassals to do the same against you. At limited crown authority, you'll be able to choose between partition succession laws. These laws will all give the player heir the primary title, the realm capital, and any de jure titles that fall under it, and it will split the remaining titles among the other children. This splitting of titles begins at the highest title rank. That means if you're at a king rank with, say, 2 kingdom rank titles, and you have more than one child of an inheriting gender, your player heir will only receive one of these king titles, and their sibling will receive the other. And since these are 2 equal rank titles, the one united kingdom will split into 2 independent kingdom rank realms. This same logic applies at bigger numbers of titles and children, and it applies at all ranks of titles as well. The laws further to the right give a larger share of the titles to the primary heir the further right you go, but the splitting still starts at the top level. At high crown authority, you can change all the laws. This unlocks the single heir succession laws, giving you the option to pass all titles onto your eldest appropriately gendered child, your youngest appropriately gendered child, or the oldest member of the house. The option you pick will change who is happy or upset at the law, and it's a way for you to make sure the right person takes on your titles after your passing. An incapable or incompetent heir is a worrying thing, and this should help avoid that awkward situation. Gender laws swing between only allowing one gender to inherit titles and claims, and take on multiple spouses and concubines if the faith allows it, preferential treatment of one over the other, or equal treatment of both. It's very important to understand that preferential treatment means that a single inheritor of the preferred gender takes precedent over all potential inheritors outside of it. At the highest level of crown authority, absolute authority, you're able to designate an heir at the cost of prestige, a useful tool for when you would otherwise have an heir you'd rather not see take control for whatever reason. But authority isn't the only thing that determines your ability to change the laws. You have to pay in prestige, and your faith and culture will provide limitations too. Gender laws are limited by doctrines in your faith. This is a potential reason to create a new faith. There are many other reasons too, but we'll touch on those in an upcoming video. Succession laws, meanwhile, are potentially held back by your culture and the associated technological breakthroughs or reforms that they have made. Heraldry in the High Medieval era and primogeniture in the Late Medieval era are primary examples. Your powerful vassals play a key role in passing any changes to these laws as well. Like I said previously, this is a major change in how things work in your realm, so naturally, people are going to be resistant to it. All powerful vassals must approve of the change. This can be achieved by making sure they like you, making sure they're terrified of you because of your dread rating or their own cowardice, or making sure they are imprisoned, either by yourself or somebody else. A vassal isn't easy to imprison without making others upset though, unless you have a good reason. So this is one of those times it makes sense to send somebody at a powerful enemy army with a small band of warriors in the hopes of having them captured. One final essential element to touch on when it comes to succession is the ability to specify succession laws at a title level. This can be done on any title that belongs to you and is above county rank, and it's a cheeky way to circumvent the aforementioned splitting of your realm. With that said, it still requires the appropriate level of crown authority and prestige, as well as positive opinions from all vassals. If all else fails, a title can't be inherited if it doesn't exist, so destroy it, again at the cost of prestige, opinion, and the status of de jure liege if you're that desperate. It's very important to keep in mind, however, that under the Confederate partition system, titles will be created if possible and necessary to give all the children titles. So even if you've destroyed all but one of your top-ranked titles or never created the others in the first place, Confederate partition will create them and split them among your children. Ultimately, keeping your realm united under you and your heirs is a separate goal from keeping your realm within your dynasty. While it hurts to see your realm get split, it's important to remember that it might benefit the family as a whole, and that can be a bit of a silver lining. It's much worse if one of your heirs belongs to a different dynasty. After all, you win as a family. I hope this video has helped clarify any issues or doubts with regards to how dynasties work in Crusader Kings 3, and as always, if you have any questions or suggestions and ideas of your own, feel free to drop them in the comments down below. If you have any requests for future topics to cover as well, leave them in the comments too, and I will definitely let them influence my future decisions with this beginner's guide. There are many more videos to come, so if you're not yet subscribed, consider doing so as well. As always, a massive thanks goes out to all of my channel members and patrons for supporting the channel on a monthly basis. They'll keep us alive and running smoothly, and a big old thanks goes out to each and every one of you for watching. Until next time, cheers.